We still have time to fight and win against socialism in America.
Welcome to Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan, training you to lead with courage.
Yes, we still have time to fight and win against socialists in America. I'm Virginia Prodan, your host at Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan. We love to encourage you, to equip you, and to train you to be strong and courageous and to live a life of significance and success. And I'm speaking from my own experience as I fought and won against socialist and communist Romania. And also here in America, I continue my fight for freedom as international human rights attorney, as a speaker, as an author for Tyndale, who published my memoir, Saving My Assassin. You can find the book at virginiaprodanbooks.com/products/book. It will encourage you to see how God helped me to fight against the socialists and communists in Romania and here in America, and how God can use you to do the same. Be aware of the attacks of the liberals. I'm not here to tell you how to vote, special this year. I'm not here to tell you in specific, you need to do this and do this. I can tell you in general what kind of actions are appropriate. But my most important focus is to show you and to tell you from my own experience the atrocities of socialism, and to wake up and to realize what the liberals, and be aware of the taxes of the liberals and what they are doing in this country, and to this country, and to each one of us. From brainwashing leaders, and for those people and normal people, not just leaders, and those lovers of socialism who will lie to us and tell us that they are offering you freedom that you don't have under socialists. Believe me, I live under socialist, communist in Romania, and for 30 years I have been living in America under freedom. It's true that our freedom is every single day pushed away by the liberals and by the socialist ideology, Marxism ideology. And it comes in many ways. It tells you that, yes, you are free. You're free to choose your sex. And you can do that from a younger age, from kindergarten. That the government will protect you by not applying the law, even when you violate the law of the United States of America. And they do this in order to destroy capitalism. Look at the way they do it. You had seen this everywhere. People going to the grocery stores and stealing food and everything, not paying it. Or going to the mall and destroying or stealing things. And nobody applies the law to put those people in jail. It's a form of destroying capitalists. It's a form of teaching those people, oh, you are rich, I can steal from you. Those people work, those people build a business and offer employment for a lot of people and so forth. That's what the liberals are doing. You have seen also another form of destroying capitalism is by letting people destroy historical monuments. We have not seen lately that, but last year, the year before, we had seen a lot of this. Those tactics, each one of them is to take slowly and surely away from us freedom in America, and put and you are not even aware. And by doing this, they put you in a cage of socialists where they promise you that the government will take care of you. I call socialists a land of lies and a prison land. Believe me that I lived under socialists and communists. I know exactly what these people are doing and the tactic that they use in order to make you believe that they have your interest at their heart. In fact, what they want to do is to destroy capitalists and to implement socialists slowly and surely, and even to involve you, especially young people who never experienced socialists, in this process. I want you to read my memoir, Saving My Assassin. Again, you can find it at virginiaprodanbooks.com/product/book. It shows you how socialists implemented all this gradually in Romania, and more than this, they did it with the boots of and the guns of the Russian soldiers. In America, they do it with implemented fear in you, lies, to make you part of this, especially young people, and also through a lot of corporations that are doing, in collaboration with the government, a lot of things against our freedom and our rights. So you have to be aware of the fact that, just think about the pen in some states. I may give you some example. In some states, parents who express their opinion and point of view at school board for what the students are taught in school, what the government is trying to do by teaching them to change their sex, performing the change of sex in many states without parental approval. Think about the case in Colorado Springs when a girl was forced to sleep in the same bed with a young man who declared himself a girl. And even after they returned from the trip, the school never informed the parents about what they did, and it's a case against the school. So they are continuing to doing all kind of things. Also, in some states, parents are losing their children if they don't agree with the government that their child needs to change their sex and to perform those medical procedures on their children. Those are the tactics of the socialists and communists to destroy the family, to destroy and brainwash children from a younger age and separate them from parents. And those children become what we used to call in socialists and communists the property of the government. They do the same things with others. They are threatening people that they will lose their job if they don't agree with the Marxist socialist ideology. And many people are fearful they will agree with that if they will be in a position of law enforcement, in a business where the corporation cooperates with the government and so forth. Be aware of all of this. And parents also in those states are not, by because of the way the government sets up, liberal government sets up everything, they are threatened that they will not be able to run for offices in those states. This is a violation of our rights or freedom in America, and it's in an implementation of the socialist Marxist ideology. And you have to be aware and not to be afraid of this. The left strategy will continue to play out unless America takes a stand, and each one of us will take a stand on this. And I hope that we will understand that each one of us, we have a role, we have a position in what we have to do in our home, in our community, in our churches. Take time and get involved. Do not be afraid. Do not submit to the terror and the threats of the government. I am telling you, the government will do everything, the liberal government will do everything in its power to eliminate our rights if we don't stand up. It is our freedom, is the freedom that we receive and others fought for and died for. It's time to get involved. Run for the office. Be a poll watcher. Go and vote. Lots of Christians are not registered to vote. And when you are not registered to vote, your voice is not heard. You let someone else to decide our leaders. And no wonder why we are in the position that we are in this situation, at this time. It's time for us to learn from our own mistakes and correct them. Encourage your state or your representative to fight for our freedom and for our rights. And after that, you keep them accountable. Help them to fight for election integrity, for the rights for our children and for the parents' rights. Keep them accountable on every single area and every single section of what we discuss about this. Our voice is so important and it's so amazing. I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to understand in my memoir, Saving My Assassin, there are lots of positive and negative examples. Let me give you one negative example from my own life and from the life of my relatives. Not only that I heard my parents being politically correct outside of the home, giving the government all the rights and everything, but also inside of the house, expressing the fear and the horror that tomorrow the socialist communist government will take their rights, more rights away. So take it from me, the government will never stop trying to take those rights away from us. It's time for us to have a strategy. It's time for us to stand up and to get involved. And I want to tell you that watching my parents being so submissive and so fearful, I decided that I will not live this kind of life. And by the grace of God, I went to law school. I believe that there will be the solution, but in fact, accepting Christ later on was the solution, that because he, first of all, had the mission on my life to know him and to fight in his power to protect Christians and human rights cases and take the dictator to court. And by the grace of God, I took the dictator to court and I won. Yes, I was beaten, tortured, placed under house arrest. Even I was in a situation where the government sent a killer, an assassin to my office to kill me. By the grace of God, I shared the gospel with him and he accepted Christ. You can read more in in my memoir, Saving My Assassin. But I want to share with you a negative story in my life. Even though it's negative, I want you to pay attention to this story. I don't want you to be your story. It's a story of my uncle who had a business, a bank business, and who was too afraid when the socialist ideology, the Marxist ideology came to America, came to Romania, and many people were submissive to the Russian boots and guns. He was afraid too, or was afraid that he might lose his business, that he might be put to jail and so forth. And guess what? He decided to go to London and stay there for a period of time, hoping that someone else will stand up for our rights in Romania. Sure enough, when he returned to Romania after a year or more, and he went to his bank business and trying to do business and do all kind of things, guess what? The government came to his office and told him that now he has to respect those socialist and government's ideology and forms of transactions and so forth. So he decided, no, I don't want, I have been in business for so many years and so forth, and this is the way I want to do the business. He decided to speak up for himself and maybe for others. But at that time was too late. Guess what? The socialist government took him to a psychiatric hospital and put him there. And they tried to train him to be loyal to socialists and to communists. And I don't want any one of you to experience what my uncle experienced, because when it was time to speak up, he was too fearful to speak up. Take a stand. It's time to get involved, to speak up, and to stand up and defend the freedom that we have in America. Teach your kids the importance of freedom. Go and visit with them different monuments and read books from the past, examples of people that fought for freedom. Teach them about free election and a fair election. It's important for young people to understand the benefit and the privilege that we have to go and choose our leaders, not the government to choose them. Be an engaged citizen and help others to be the same. And remember that socialist is against your family, wants to destroy your family and even to take your kids away. So if you don't fight the energy, the power to fight for yourself, at least fight for your children. Socialist is against your freedom of speech, freedom of association. And remember that those freedoms are given to us by God and not by the government. Fight for your freedom of speech. Fight for your freedom of association. The socialist is against your property. You will read in my book, Saving My Assassin, that shortly after the socialists and communists took the government, they took our properties too. The government was the only one having properties. And the government, the socialist government, is against guns, your guns. And if you think that socialists, the liberals in this country don't have a strategy, let me give you an example. Illinois established on January 1st, 2024, a law that let me read it. Illinois gun ban law that was established or enacted on January 1st, 2024. The new law, called the Protection Illinois Communities Act, bans the delivery, sales, and purchase of so-called assault weapons, bans also attachments, extended magazines, and it's surely a clear violation of the Second Amendment. Apparently, as some news media or news magazines explain, the Illinois legislature thinks that the Second Amendment reads, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless Democrats in Illinois agree. Our founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment as a tool to restrict government overreach and as a way of preventing the government from playing those type of games. Our founding father never intended for the government to know who has guns and where they are located, as this law requires. This new state-level gun registration trumps our Bill of Rights and is against our right to bear guns. But there is some good news. After governor enacted this law before anyone, at the middle of the night, before anyone could read, he was, I believe, concerned about the law because, according to Illinois Review, he made a point when confirmed to the press to announce that according to those law that was enacted January 1st, 2024, those law enforcement officers who do not comply, he said, with this law will be fired from their employment. But here is the good news. Even as the governor seems to be preparing to confiscate guns from those who do not comply, the vast majority are not complying. Good for them. They stand up for their rights. Of the 2.4 million of firearm owners identified card holders, only 2.17% have entertained the new law. More than that, 74 of the 102 elected Illinois sheriffs said they refuse to enforce the unconstitutional law. Well, here you have an example of what the socialists, the liberals, are doing and trying to implement socialists in America, and also a positive thing, what the law-obeying citizens, law enforcement, or people having a gun are doing to stand up to protect their rights. I hope this will help you to understand and to stand up. Do not forget that socialism is against your family and your kids, your freedom of association, freedom of speech, your property, and your guns. I hope that you are sending us, continue to watch our podcast and our YouTube. Please subscribe. I will put the link in down here. And I hope you also watch Hope for America, another podcast, another YouTube that we prepare for you. Remember, there is still time that we can fight, and win for America. Again, there is still time to fight and win against socialists in America. I hope to hear from you, and I hope you stand up and fight for freedom and against socialists in America.
If you want to know more about Virginia Prodan, her coaching program, buy her book, Saving My Assassin, or invite Virginia to speak at your events, visit virginiaprodanbooks.com.